Okay, so I'm James Worcester. I'm COO of Glue42, and this man is?
Freddie Talia, CTO of the Private Bank, Wealth Management.
So obviously the only reason why you're all here is that one of you is going to win an iWatch. So we'll get that out at the end of the session. And I'll explain the rules about who can win, because obviously not everyone should be able to win an iWatch from us. So let's talk about what we're going to do. So Glue42 sits in the desktop interop space. There are certain other vendors that might be outside that do a similar thing. But the objective of today's session is to tell you a little bit about why we're different. And I thought the best way of doing that was with one of our customers. So this is the scope of what we're going to do. This quote came from our PR company. In fact, this lady down here, so why most desktops suck and how to fix them. Quite often when we go into large organisations, we go and speak with the end users, and they're just simply very frustrated with the fact that their organisations have spent hundreds of millions on integration, but they still have 20, 50, 100 applications available to them on the desktop. So we're going to talk about the problem domain. In fact, Freddie is going to be talking about the problem in JP Morgan that used to exist. He's going to talk about the solution that we've helped provide. And then we're going to talk about the capabilities of the platform, just to emphasise those USPs. And we're going to do that with a video, which is a video of an environment that's currently running on our stand. So if you see anything and want to know more, come to the stand and we can talk that through. So, Freddie.
Thank you, James. Appreciate it. Thank you all. Good afternoon. So we started a journey about a couple of years ago on actually a major transformation across our complete wealth spectrum. So we're touching everything from front to back on the spectrum. So as you can imagine, which you do Morgan Chase and some of you have hundreds of thousands of applications probably, or complexities between web, legacy, monolithic. And the challenge for us is that 4 lines of business that we need to sort of harmonize. So we went down this path of creating a sort of app concept store to try to follow an idea of what the Apple and Android are starting to do. And our users started to run into some challenges of how do we bring things together? How do we take legacy monolithic apps quickly that we still have to go through and give them a balance of new functionality at the same time? So we ran into this sort of paradigm, like how do I bring these technologies together quickly and enable my technology team to sort of quickly react? So we started the journey back in May. And within 2 months, we actually rolled out what we call Connect and something called Canvas, which looks like this. In 2 months' time, we were able to quickly enable several hundred application developers, several hundred apps across wealth, and as of today, we are live with 13,000 users that are using Canvas. So obviously, I can't show you what the actual application looks like, but this is what we're calling a Connect OS, so it's a canvas-based UI, so the user can sort of customize their screen and layout. The technology team can quickly enable legacy apps contextually and start bringing things to life together in this sort of unified fashion. And we're calling it sort of like a single pane of glass, right? So the users could decide based on roles, who are they, what they need to do based on entitlement visibility. We start to bring those things together in one environment. And we're actually running the code base globally across 2 lines of businesses, and shortly next year we'll be across all 4 lines of businesses. So obviously I can't show it to you live, but James is actually going to run a video that simulates what the environment looks like. And by the way, because we're using this technology, the actual time to market has been reduced significantly, right? So we can quickly enable not just my current development team, but the rest of the team within asset wealth management.
Okay, so I'm going to try and talk over a video without pausing it, so this is going to be quite tricky. So this might look familiar to some people, an environment in which you've got lots of applications on the desktop. They don't talk to each other, but importantly, and I must stress this, these are applications written in different technologies. This is not a trivial JavaScript only environment. This is one where you copy and paste between legacy WPF, .NET, VB.com, Java, JavaScript, Delphi, soon coming Q1, and you copy and paste constantly between those applications in order to basically do your job. And that's not easy to do when you've got a portfolio, as Freddie says, of potentially hundreds of applications. So, does this look familiar to people in the room? Okay, there's a nodding of heads going on. And clearly there are third-party applications as well, like Salesforce, or Office applications like Excel or Word. and just creeping around the right-hand side, you might even see OpenFit as well. So the idea then is we want to change the way you work and make your end users happier. So what we've got here is a scenario where someone's brought up a canvas or a workspace, and they're moving their applications around to make it fit the kind of role that they're doing today. And by the way, you can put any application into here, it doesn't matter the technology type, and Salesforce is in the middle. That hasn't been skinned. Salesforce will allow skinning middle of next year. But if you can skin it to make it look pretty, then why not? And so this is a really good example of how to use a workspace, because within each of these cells there are tabs that allow other applications to be just one click away. And what we've seen is it's really important for end users to have one-click access to data sources, because it gives them the confidence and the comfort to know that it's just one click away. And sometimes, when you're looking at this kind of environment, it's important that you think about the user journeys. And one way that we do that is by making sure that we understand the user experience that's important, and also reusing the assets that you've got. It's just because your application is .NET or legacy in some way, doesn't mean to say that you should throw it away. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So here's an example. Someone's in Outlook and they received an email, sorry about the screen erase by the way, and they've received an email from a customer, and this is customer Vernon. Do a right click in that email and instantly it launches a canvas or a swim lane as we call it, which has got all of the applications that you might need to begin a call and service that customer. What you can't see here, perhaps, is down on the bottom right hand side, a call has just come in, rather annoyingly, from another customer called Sutton. And so accepting the call will automatically create another workspace with potentially the same but maybe different applications. And during that conversation with this customer, the customer says, "Look, have you seen the news feed about one of the instruments that I'm interested in?" So puts the news app into the workspace, decides that actually the customer might need some of the enterprise data to be pushed into Excel, because actually sending an Excel spreadsheet to the customer might be an easier thing to do. The thing that you may notice here very quickly is that this is bidirectional. We take the data out of the enterprise applications and put it into Excel, but changing the data in Excel will change the enterprise application. It's peer-to-peer and real-time, and that's really important if your world revolves around things like Excel and Microsoft Office apps. So I could have come here today to tell you about a simple JavaScript-only environment, and that wouldn't be, with all respect, particularly interesting. So what we're focused on is finding those organisations who have lots of applications, legacy applications which they may wish to digitally transform into something new, but they've got to keep the lights on while they do that. So why throw something away that's broken? Why not reuse it and sweat the assets? Now, one thing that wouldn't have been very clear from that video is that every single operation that a user performs when you've glue enabled your applications is tracked. Now, subject to the security rules that you may have in-house, we can track application launch and close, window activation or loss of focus. We can do button presses, we can do resize, move, we can even do keystrokes. Banks are sometimes a little bit nervous about us capturing keystrokes. But imagine if you managed to, across 15,000 desktops, manage to record that data and put it in a place where you could subsequently analyze it. Well, today I want to talk to you about what I think is going to be a new IT category. And for those who have a background as long as mine in IT, you might have come across the phrase process mining. Process mining is about looking at the back end of applications and reconstituting the user's journey from database updates and log files. Imagine if you're an operational person though. Imagine if you knew who in your organisation was using which applications at which times of day, whether they were producing good business outcomes or poor business outcomes. Imagine if you knew that one of your users, Freddie, Do you ever use this?
Yeah.
You do. Imagine if Freddie was the perfect example of generating massive benefit for the business. Wouldn't it be nice to know what Freddie's journey is through these applications, such that you can encourage the other users in the organisation to do something similar? So user experience process mining is taking the user interface breadcrumb trail of activity, harvesting that, correlating it with geography, department, role, process, etc., analysing that data and preparing that data such that you could subsequently
Just
act upon.
one of the things with the Canvas thing which was helpful for us is that as people were creating workspaces, people were creating their own. We came up with a default template that we want them to use, but they were creating their own. We have that information that you can actually now share it, right? So it's great to sort of find people in the organization that figured out how to use that Canvas or that workflow for something else and then publish it out to the rest of the community.
Very powerful. Thank you. So on the right-hand side, I mean, it's a thumbnail as far as the people at the back are concerned, but that's ClickSense, so a great visual analytics tool. We're not getting into the game of building new front ends for business analysis and optimization. So the idea is that we capture that data and then you can use an in-house tool to analyze that in some way. So these allow you to answer questions like, and I'm not going to tell you the answer here, you just have to imagine how this might work. Which end users in my organisation need a new PC? We check resource utilisation on every machine when something of interest occurs. Who is my best user? Who produces the best outcomes? What is the next best application to use after the one that they're currently using? That really opens up a whole world of possibilities in terms of process optimization. So on some of the desks, certainly at the front, there is a capability sheet which talks about some of the things that have been deployed inside JPM and elsewhere. The capabilities, well, that's a very small subset. I would urge you, particularly if you understand this space, to look at everything in that diagram on the reverse side and ask yourself, does your in-house platform do that? And maybe if you've got another platform, does that do these things too? Okay? So this is not just simple JavaScript, this is whatever you've got, we can make it work and make it work better. So, where did that music come from? That's not me, is it? That's interesting. So, I'd like to say thank you very much for your time today. This is a really important event for us, and I'd love to have conversations with any of you who are interested in